everyone, respected chairperson, judges, members of the House, and my most worthy opponent. I, Harsh Arora, stand here against the motion that we should give more priority to education sector than digitalization. Today, the world believes in technology and advancement. And one of the most important ways to do that is digitalization. Let's take a very basic example of schools, like most of them already have mentioned. I'd like to do that again. Students today don't really understand what's going on in their class. They find lectures pretty boring. But if that is done in a more interesting way, they catch up really very fast. Technology is what they understand. That's why smart classes prevail, and that's why they are learning better. Educating people will certainly help, but if that is done in a more technical way, it will produce more efficient students. When we talk about digitalization, we always think of a person sitting on a computer and writing programs or doing whatnot. But if we look deep inside, we'll see that digitalization creates employment. It creates employment on every level, from a low-level technician to a high-level entrepreneur of some startup. We always find digitalization, and we can't survive without that. Another example for today is, these days everyone has phones. We all use them. We may use them for different purposes, but the ones who really want to achieve something will definitely use them for their own good. Quora is very important example right now. You can read books anywhere, but in one book you'll only find the views of one person. But Quora is a site where you can post any random question, and trust me, nobody's gonna judge you there. And they will have all the answers for you. Today, farmers, we all have said that farmers don't have electricity right now. In villages, we don't have electricity. But if digitalization comes into play, they will have to provide electricity. And that way, farmers won't be exploited by humans, which we are always doing. And with this, I would like to rest my case that digitalization is the way. You better catch up. Thank you.
No one's gonna judge him. Anyone wanna ask him a question? Who's that? Okay, Aditya, I'll give you the opportunity this time. All right.
Well said. My question to you is that in a country where the people are striving just to attain basic education, what use is the introduction of digitalization that is a far vast system?
Just introduce digitalization. Just try to introduce that, and that way, if computers are the only way out, they will have to start learning.
Okay, for whatever it was worth, the question has been answered, and the next questioner is Sagarika Banerjee of the Girls High School. She's got a question for Harsh.
Don't you think having smart classes in some school and not in the other will burgeon the divide between people?
It will definitely do. That is why digitalization is the way.
That's it. Okay, we've got time for yet another question from Tanya.
In a country like India, where people aren't educated enough to read a book, how will they learn to use digital devices?
Introducing digital devices may not help initially, but if that is the only thing available, you have to learn that ultimately to catch up.
Right, thank you so much. Now with that, I guess all the speakers have had their say. While the judges are busy toting up the marks, of course, it is always the discretion of the judges to evaluate the participants and whatever parameters they have evolved for the purposes of evaluating and judging. Meanwhile, I am asking, or I am throwing the debate open to the House. If there's anyone sitting in the House, not only amongst the students, but anyone from our august audience who wants to say anything about the proposition before the House today, you are most welcome to come up and speak. But be short and succinct. Please.
Good morning, one and all present here. I'm Smriti from St. Anthony's Convent Girls Inter College. To speak up something, I would like to say, I never knew before this debate that if you have to finish a one-day match and a test match, you have to first start with a one-day match. Come on, man, education is an elongated process. Being the daughter of a government teacher, I know well how it operates in the villages. You need not to tell me that we can't survive without internet friends. People are living without food. Go hell with the internet.
That's it?
No, sir. Now, my mother teaches class 6, 7th and 8th. There are 2 teachers, 3 classes. The students, most of the students are not even capable of writing their names well. And you are saying we must prioritize digitalization in India? How will digitalization come when the child doesn't know to write her name?
Right, thank you. Your point is made.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to come up and say? And you see, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So if the participants were not allowed a piece of paper, you also please refrain from using a piece of paper. You've had the advantage of hearing all of them, so speak without a piece of paper. Yeah.
Good morning to all. As Shaman sir pointed out, there were 3 important terms in this debate according to me: educational divide, digital divide, and priority. Imagine this: if we have a person without fancy gadgets, and on the other side we have an uneducated person, what will be our priority? Will our priority be giving that undigitalized person gadgets, or will our priority be giving that uneducated person a book, a pen and a textbook, or a book to learn from? If we give that, I stand in the proposition for the simple reason, if we give that person fancy gadgets, he will just use them. Whereas if we give that person, uneducated person, something to learn from, he may learn from it and make even better gadgets. And another thing I wrote, many people were talking about smart classes while standing in the opposition. I will talk about them standing here. Why? Smart classes are a tool to actually prioritize education through a digital method. They do not prioritize digitalization, but directly prioritize education. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I've been in a boys' institution all along. It was an all-boys institution, both St. Joseph's and BHS. And I would know anyone, any day, do with an unsmart school with smart girls rather than with smart classes. Anyone else wanting to speak from the house? Sanjay Khanduja, do I see you anywhere around? He was one of our judges. He's taken a walk outside. Then could I request Mr. Shank? Achha, all right, before that. Please.
Good morning to all of you. I would like to start with the saying, killing 2 birds with a stone. If we now focus on the digital divide, then the educational divide will be completed within completing the process of digital divide. And also, as many of the competitors here pointed, that if the student doesn't even know how to read a book, how can you expect him to operate a computer? Well, when we are born in this world, we don't know anything. We are taught how to read. So, why not let's skip that step and go directly on teaching the computer? If we will know how to operate these gadgets, obviously we will know how to read a book. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's a wonderful prescription. He said that instead of walking first, why not become a sprinter first? Now, could I request one of the judges, I leave it upon the judges. Shall I call upon Sanjay Khanduja? He's been a very illustrious speaker himself and was my junior in this school. He's one of our August panel of judges today. Sanjay, please, you take my mic. You've always been taking something away from me.
Thank you, Shaman. Good morning. The first reason why I borrowed your mic was I neither wanted to be for or against. The topic today was really nice because there were two distinct possible ways of interpreting the way it is with every good topic. Now what was most interesting is that the topic didn't get through today. And the educational divide and the digital divide, the word divide got missed. So it basically was interpreted as if it's digital education and non-digital education and the way it's being followed and Modi and campaigns and all that. Well, as judges, you know, our understanding meter begins when you speak and it ends when you stop speaking. So we understand what you make us understand as participants. And one thing got across to us, that when you were speaking, this is how it got across to you. So we judged you accordingly. We actually didn't judge the way it was to be judged, the way you were supposed to understand, but we judged on the way you understood the topic. That's the only way it was, that's the only way it gave an equitable ground to everyone, and that's the way we went about it. But I can tell you one thing, all of you are good. It was very nice to listen to all of you. There were many views that came across, and the views of this time and this age, and what you think of it, they all came across, and it was a pleasure to hear you. Thank you. Thank you, Shyam.
Thank you, Sanjay. I guess that was enlightening for all the speakers. May I call upon Mrs. Shankar to also come up on the stage? She is also one of our judges. Kindly come up on the stage and say something while the marks are being toted up. All yours.
Good morning, Team SJC and all the other participating schools. As an educationist, I feel extremely thrilled to be amidst young students, and their positive energy levels are actually infectious. Coming to the topic of the debate, as Sanjay and I we were discussing, that the students should actually, when they get a debate topic, they should break it up and see